afternoon. I'm Dilly MacFarlane, and welcome to the Alumni Special. Today I'm happy to be speaking with Valerie Burkimsher, an alumna who's been involved for a number of years with the Classical Ballet Academy of Halifax. Hi, Valerie.
Hi, Dilly.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Valerie, I understand that you're a fairly recent graduate of the Mount.
Yes, I am. I'm one of the mature students at the Mount, and I graduated in 1982.
With what degree?
With a Bachelor of Arts degree.
All right. We're classmates. I graduated in '82 as well.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And I didn't know you then.
Well, we know each other now because you and I work together in the Alumni Development Office. I understand that you're very busy in the development area these days. What are some of the things that are new?
Well, of course, we just finished the Jubilee celebrations, and we had all kinds of activities with that. And now we're involved with the new tourism program, which is going to happen in September. And then we have an annual fund drive, which will be our first ever for the Mount, and I'll be working on that with our alumni.
I see. Well, with all of that work, you still find time to become involved in community activities. And I understand that the Classical Ballet Academy is your main community activity these days.
Yes, it is. I became involved with it because I have a daughter who is a dancer, and like most mothers, you follow your child's activity and become involved in it.
I see.
And ballet is something that I've always loved. Unfortunately, I've not ever been a dancer, and I really regret that. I think it's nice that my daughter has developed this interest in dancing.
Well, I think she's fortunate to be able to get the training here in Halifax. It's not a large city, but I know that it's known for its cultural and culturally enriched programs that are available to the public. How did this particular ballet academy begin? How did it come into being?
Well, it really grew out of the closing of the Atlantic Ballet Company, which was in Halifax for only 2 years, and unfortunately because of funding and various other reasons, they had to stop production. And they did have a school involved with them, and many of the students who had been taking very long and extensive dance training were left, and the parents, wanting them to continue on, decided that they would form the school. And so now the parents are on the board of directors. We run the school. We've hired an artistic director who sits on the board as an ex officio member. And the parents are running the school so that our children can continue their level of dancing. Now, this is a very intensive level of dancing, I might add.
Yes, I'm sure. I know very little about ballet, Valerie, so I hope you'll bear with me in the course of the interview, because I'm going to be asking you what will appear to you to be very basic questions, but perhaps some of our viewers will be interested in knowing this information. Just to begin with, when you say the company, how many students are now being instructed with the Classical Ballet Academy? Well,
we presently have 30 students, and they range in age from 9 years old up to about 17 or 18.
I see. How many male and how many female?
We don't have any male students at the moment. We do have a couple of male people who come in and dance on a guest basis. At the moment, we don't have any students who are regular students.
I see. So the littlest ones are how old?
About 9 years old, and when we take them at the very early level, it's more of a pre-ballet, and it's an introduction to movement, and they just learn to do what they can with their hands and their feet and their arms and their legs, and they have a good time. It's not serious at that level.
That's great. I know that you've had several very successful performances. Why don't you tell us a bit about those?
Well, we began with just a demonstration last March, and then we had a summer school in the summertime with a sort of a small dance performance at that point. Then in December, we had a major performance at the Dunn Theatre in Halifax. It was called the Classical Fantasy, and the younger students performed Peter and the Wolf. The older students performed an excerpt from Coppelia, and also a work that our artistic director had choreographed, and that was their final number.
And how was that received by the public?
It was wonderful. Unfortunately, we only put on one performance, but it was a sold-out house, and people went to it not knowing what to expect and were completely bowled over by it. It was very successful. The students had a great time doing it, and it has encouraged us to go on with more performances.
That's great. It'd be a wonderful experience for the students as well.
It is, and they love it. They put in long hours of training, and performing is one of the things that they really enjoy. So if they have that goal in mind, then they work harder in their training.
Tell me something, Valerie. Why do you need a special? What's the difference between classical dance training, and I know that there are a number of dance programs available in the city: jazz, contemporary dance, folk dancing, all sorts. How does the classical training differ from these others?
It differs because it goes back to the classical method of ballet. The old classical ballets are performed. They are trained at our school. They're trained in the Russian method of dancing, and our artistic director believes that children at this age level should only be trained in classical ballet. We tend to agree with him. He believes this for a number of reasons. He feels that if you have a good grounding in classical training, then you don't need to go off and do a little bit of tap and a little bit of jazz and a little bit of whatever, because it will all come from classical. Once you have the grounding, you can move into any form of dance.
I see.
And so we feel that by giving students this very intensive training, then they can go on to whatever they want to do later on.
Right. Can you give me a basic outline of how instruction would begin from the youngest, when the student would first begin at the age of 9, and how their training would, what sort of levels are there to the program of instruction?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, they start off with just a pre-ballet, which is a very introductory program. And then if they're still serious, they come back and their level of training goes up according to their age range, really. Students are not allowed to go into point shoes until they're about 12 or 13, until their bones have formed properly in their feet, in their ankles. The worst thing that can possibly happen is for a young student to put on point shoes to dance for any length of time, because there is that possibility of deformity. Now, once they have reached the age of 12 or 13, their bones are stabilizing somewhat, and they are allowed to wear point shoes for limited periods of time. They don't take an entire class in point at this time. Gradually they move up until girls who are 17, 18 years of old are taking class of about a half an hour in duration in point. The other portion of that class is taken in soft shoe. Most of the training is done in soft shoe. They only have 1 point class a week.
I see. And so at this point in time, the student is developing a repertoire of certain, the instruction includes dance, individual choreographed dances, as well as the exercises. I envision students at a bar and working very hard. I know it's darn hard work, that formal dance training.
Certainly is.
And I recall a film on Karen Kane, the National Film Board produced not too long ago, within the last 5 years. And I was struck by the effort that went into even someone as practiced and as capable, and with the training that Karen Kane has, it's quite a painful, hard. You have to be very determined.
Yes, these students are determined. They're not in it once they reach 12, 13, and up. They are not just there because it's cute to take dancing. They're very serious. Most of these students are looking at a career in dance. They may not feel that way by the time they reach 18, because of course positions in dance companies are quite limited, and it's very difficult to survive on a dancer's salary. But what we like to do for these students is develop an appreciation of dance. Whether they go on to be professional dancers or not, we want to develop in them a love of dance, an appreciation for all dance forms. And we feel that by giving them this classical instruction, forever after, they will always be interested in dance, and they'll be supporters of dance.
I see. I understand that some of your students have had some success recently in applying for acceptance to the Royal Winnipeg School.
Yes, we're very pleased. After just 1 year of operation with the classical ballet, we had students accepted. We had 5 of our students accepted for their summer school this summer. Now, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, when they were here in November, held an open audition. Anyone could go. I think we had 12 students who applied. 5 of our students were accepted.
Really?
They will go to summer school this summer, and then the Royal Winnipeg then selects students out of that class and accepts them into the school on a permanent basis.
I see. Tell me something. I'm sure that every mother out there with a daughter who is the least little bit inclined toward dancing will want to know, is it expensive, Valerie, to have your child trained in classical ballet?
It is not terribly expensive in Halifax. If we were offering the level of programming that we do in another city, I'm sure it would be very much more expensive. In Toronto, it would probably be 3 or 4 times the level of cost. Here in Halifax, we're extremely lucky. Our artistic director is Marion Bear. He has had great amounts of experience. He's been with every major dance company in North America. In Europe, he started out with the Ballet of Yugoslavia. He's performed in Paris with major companies, the ballet in Mannheim, Germany. And so to have that level of instruction here and for what we're paying is a bargain. It's not that expensive. The biggest outlay for us really is time. And the students do sacrifice school activities. They sacrifice marks. And parents sacrifice a lot as well, bringing them back and forth from
I know
their
you
classes.
just took the death run to Windsor not that long
Yes.
ago for a special performance.
In the middle of a snowstorm, and but they were there for a performance. They performed for 15 minutes, and then we hustled them back to Halifax, and it was very successful.
But they were well received at Acadia.
They were. The Avon Arts Council is newly formed, and they put on a special performance in Windsor, and invited us to go up, and the students did their excerpt from Coppelia, and I think the audience loved them.
Oh, that's great. Now, Valerie, tell me, what does it cost to register a child at the Academy?
The charges are on a scale, of course, according to the number of hours a student takes classes. Now, my daughter, for instance, is dancing approximately 11 to 12 hours a week.
My goodness.
And the fee for this is just under $400 per term.
I see. And a term is how long?
A term usually goes 8 to 10 weeks. And on top of that, of course, is the cost of pointe shoes and ballet leotards and that sort of thing.
I see. Now, do you make some of the costumes yourself?
Yes.
Don't you?
Being a very small school, of course, our funds are limited, and so parents do help. Our board is very active with parents. We have parents who do fundraising for us. We have parents on publicity, parents who sew, parents who do everything, really. Whatever we have decided that the board has decided to do, the parents pitch in. They're just a great help, and without them, the school just could not exist.
Do you receive any funding at all from the government?
No, we don't. Our funding comes mostly from performances and from the fees, tuition fees from our students.
Where is the Academy located?
It's located on Barrington Street. I think the number is 1533. It's in the Masonic Building on Barrington Street on the 2nd floor. And people are invited to come on Saturday mornings. If they'd like to just peek in and watch the students, they're very welcome. And if they'd like to call the school, the artistic director will be more than happy to tell them about our school and invite them in just to see what we're doing.
That's marvelous. Are you listed in the local directory?
Yes, we are. In the yellow pages and the white pages.
That's great. What are the plans in down the road now? What's in store in the future for the Halifax Classical Ballet Academy?
Our big dream is to be able to form once again a dance company in Halifax for professional dancers, to have a school operating in conjunction with that, and to be able to give Halifax audiences the ballet that they deserve. The Halifax audience are very sophisticated in ballet. When you see any major company perform or come to town, performances are always sold out. So we are not unaware of ballet in this city at all. It's very popular pastime.
Valerie, I thank you so much for coming today and talking with us about the Classical Ballet Academy, and I wish you the very best of luck with your endeavors with them. And of course, I wish you luck too with your work here at Mount St. Vincent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All my best wishes to you and your daughter and your ballet.
Thank you very much.
I'm Dilly MacFarlane, thanking you for joining me again on the Alumni Special. And before I leave, I want to thank the duet people here at Mount St. Vincent for helping us put together this season's programming. See you next year on the Alumni Special.